Okay, amazing. Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Eli Treitel, and I want to start off first by thanking an amazing organization, CoreTorah.org, for inspiring this conference. Core is an amazing organization. It creates warmth and inspires Jewish communities by nourishing and networking from women who serve as pillars of their community. To learn more about Core or to donate, you can visit CoreTorah.org. I also want to thank my wife and Mrs. Felder for running this whole event from the background. And let's get started. I want to start with introducing our panelists, three Chushav Rabunim that took their time to be with us, to answer so many questions, amazing questions. And first I want to start with Rav Royde, Rabbi Shlomie Royde Shlita. Rabbi Royde is a Ruv, a well-known veteran Chusin Rebbe. He also teaches and trains Chusin teachers, Chusin Rebbes, preparing them to teach the next generation, for generations to come. He also sees couples and helps them navigate the Shulam Bayis struggles. Harav Shloime Ehrlich, Rabbi Shloime Ehrlich Shlita, Rav Ehrlich has organized and runs countless organizations. He has coached and guided hundreds of singles through their dating process and stays on to counsel the couples through their married life and through life in general. He also teaches chasanim and specializes in second marriages. Rav Shloime Ekstein Shlita, he's a marriage counselor and dating coach in Monsey. He's known to deal with difficult marriages, difficult cases, and helped hundreds of couples throughout the years. He gives courses, guiding parents on the healthy approach to doing shlichim. And he's also the founder of Chabiras Har Sinai, where he gives clarity and Yunei Ashkufet to men in the community. So with these Chushav panelists, I want to start off with saying what we're looking to accomplish with today's conference. Today's conference we're hoping to spread awareness on the Torah's intentions on how a couple can have a beautiful and connecting relationship together. I want to let everybody know that this Q&A is for men only. There'll be a women's Q&A this Sunday in Yetz Hashem at 1:30. And if anybody needs information on that, please reach out to me, and we'll send you the link. We'll help you join. Ta'abish yourself. Also, I want everybody to know that if there are any questions that aren't answered, you feel that aren't covered in today's Q&A, no worries. We're going to be sending out all the contact information to all the panelists, and you can reach out to them directly and ask any questions that aren't covered in today's Q&A. With that, I would love to get started. I see more and more people are signing up, but I think it's a good time to start, and they'll get most of it. Okay, so the first question that came in, the first question I'd like to start with, it's a very broad question. What is the purpose of marriage? And can you describe mitzvahs oina and how it's different from the mitzvah of Pri Revi? Harav Shloime Ehrlich, if you can connection back. If Harav Royde, if you can start off, please, and answer that question, would be amazing. Shkoyach.
Okay, welcome everyone. There's a chis to help Klal Yisrael. It's three questions in one. What's the goal of marriage, and what's a mitzvah oina, and what is it different than Pri Revi? The goal of marriage, the Torah gives us a very simple answer. Loi toiv hayois ha'odam levadoi. Now, what does it mean, loi toiv? Pshat, every single person in the world is loi toiv. Now, the Torah doesn't say that anyone who's married is toiv. Unfortunately, there's other people in the world. Loi toiv, pshat, being single, it's not possible to be toiv. Why is it not possible to be toiv? Because a single person automatically just thinks about themselves. Everything they do is for their own ego. Even when they want to help other people, it's for themselves. That's called loy toiv. You get married, now you're able 24/7 to do toiv. That is in a nutshell the answer of marriage. Whatever we do in marriage is based on helping us become toiv. The mitzvah's oina is a continuation of being toiv. The mitzvah's oina is giving the husband's mitzvah to give the wife the most intimate pleasure that is possible with the most amount of ahava. That is the mitzvah's oina in 1 second. Giving your wife the greatest intimate pleasure with the most highest level of ahava.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Now, this is nothing to do with mitzvah priyavi. This is just a constant mitzvah which a person has a husband has to his wife. Once you understand the mitzvah's oina is the highest level of sharing ahava, therefore, the best time how a child can be formed is when the highest level of ahava, of unity is. That is a mitzvah of oina and priyavi in a nutshell.
Oh, that's beautiful how you connected both of those, and how short and clear that explanation was. Amazing. If I can follow up with another question, is the mitzvah of oina in itself a mitzvah? Is that like a mitzvah to get married for the mitzvah of oina, or is it only an undertaking and it only becomes a chiyuv once you get married?
It's a continuation of the mitzvah of marriage. I'll tell you in a quick, everyone asks the kasha, why do we not say a bracha on the mitzvah's oina? It's a mitzvah, you should make a bracha on it. Now, I always had the kasha, I never had the best explanation until a couple of years ago I saw Kinteris, and it's such a simple answer, the essence of marriage. A husband's job is being toiv, 24/7, doing acts of kindness and good and love and caring for your wife. Now, one of the strongest way how you can show your kindness and your love to your wife is through the mitzvah's oina. Therefore, it's just another good thing that you're doing throughout the week. You're doing non-stop things. I mean, when you say hello to your wife in the morning, it's also a mitzvah. You don't make a bracha on it. So when you hire Mekadeshusly till 120, one mitzvah of taking care, of being kind and giving your wife ahava and kindness and devotion. So oina is just a strong form of how you're doing it. But it's one long mitzvah of marriage, of taking care of the husband's job to take care of his wife.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you so much. That's amazing. I appreciate the clarity and the explanation and all that. Rav Shloime Ehrlich,
yeah, I'm sorry, I have something else
okay,
to my.
listen,
To my
technology, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome back. Thank you. So I want to ask the question again, or you, if you can explain the purpose of marriage and how and the mitzvah of oina, how it's different from pri.
Okay. So first of all, it's a machlokes and chazal. If mitzvahs oina and pri is two separate mitzvahs, or it's it's two together as one big mitzvah. But most of the Shloime say that it's a mitzvah, it's a separate mitzvah. But of course, if you do the mitzvah of oina properly, the way the Torah wants us to do it, you are automatically being mekayim the mitzvah of pri, of to being fruitful and to multiply the family. But it starts at mitzvah's oina. Mitzvah's oina is a mitzvah that is something that you can't do it on your own. So if you deprive someone from the mitzvah of oina, you're actually torturing someone. You're being over on a loises. It's not only a essa, it's a loises also. It says in the Torah, means that you should not, it's a negative mitzvah and a positive mitzvah. Mitzvah essa, mitzvah lois essa. So what is the mitzvah essa? Oina has a few touches. The Rambam says that oina could be her time. Her time, you have to spend time with her. It's actually in Alucha, under the mitzvah's oina, is not only being intimate with your wife, which we'll elaborate more soon. It also means giving her time. So let's say if you're working all day and you have a regular job, a 9-to-5 job, and you decide you want to have another job at night on your wife's time when you're supposed to, where the place where you're living, it's the norm to be home at that time, and you want to take another job and be out of the house for another few hours at night, you are being oived of mitzvah on lo yigura from mitzvah's oina, because you're taking away her time. You need to spend time with your wife. That's part of mitzvahs oina, spending time. It also means your due, D-U-E, it's due. It's something that you owe to her, something you have to give to her, something that you need to make sure that she's missing something, as it says in the Pusik, Vel ishech t'shikusaych, Hashem put in a natural, the only one that could give it to her is the husband. So you're fulfilling your duties. You're fulfilling your duties, something they have to do. And oina also, according to Rambam, means a place. You're giving her a place to live. You're giving her a dwelling, a bedroom, a house. And the Rambam said that sha'ira means sha'ir, the body, two bodies together, being together, intimate. Kasisa means bedding and I guess shelter. And anusa means to give her her time, to the relations, actual relations, being together with your wife. So by fulfilling the mitzvahs oina in all these ways, and giving her time, spending time with her, giving her space and a house to live, and then you're also being mekayim relations, physical relations with your wife, and making sure that she's enjoying it and participating the way it's supposed to, which I'm sure we're going to get on later on. That's when you're being mekayim the mitzvah, and when you're not doing it, you're being oived on loisese for not doing it, and that's something that's pshat. I just want to say that, well, Kabbalistically speaking, the way it's said in the Chassidus Surim and the Surim from the Vilna Gaon and from the Mesilas Yesharim talks about it a lot, that it's also a homecoming. Homecoming means, because the Gemara says, as Rabbi Royde mentioned before, you're a plagifa if you're not married. You're half. When you get married, it's a homecoming. It's a soulmate. Soul means neshama, not only soulmate as S-O-L-E, S-O-U-L. It's a soulmate, literally. It's coming home to your second half, your better half. And when the two bodies are living together physically, it's not only being together mentally, emotionally, you're being together physically, you are actually coming home and bringing back together your two neshamas, which are essentially one. That's the tachlis of mitzvahs oina, and that's the reason why Hashem wants us to get married. He wants us to come back to exactly the way Uda Marishan was one person. There was Shnai Pratzifim. It was one body, and then Hashem separated the body, and we're going back home, and it's a homecoming, and that has to be done with all the chimras and all the pitchivkas. You don't just do it as a by the way. You don't just do it when it's good for you. We don't just do it when it's, you need to oinusa her time. You need to listen to her for her needs, her physical needs, her relations needs, and her time and everything that you're giving to her. This is when you become the Indian of getting married and the mitzvah of oina.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's amazingly clear and amazing. Surrounded a lot of clarity from a bunch of angles. Thank you for that. Out of Ekstein, would you like to add anything? Or should we go on to the next
first of all, it's a big privilege for me to be part of this. And Cizandu mit the panelists was sei bekannt, was alle verengtien. And it's a huge chis for me to be together to bring the information for Klal Yisrael and to help so many people in such a way. Thank you, Eli, for arranging it, and thank you for everyone that's here. So, I'm going to the first part of your question, Eli. What's the purpose of marriage? And Rabbi Royde explained it very well. I just want to maybe elaborate on it. The loneliness was intimate today. Like the loneliness, what we experience today is like never before. The Pusik, the first time the Pusik talks about marriage, the statement is it's not good to be alone, it's not good to be lonely, right? We can go into it, the difference between alone and lonely, but in today's generation, the loneliness that's going on in the world is like never before. It's like a huge percentage was people that feel lonely. I actually discussed this Shabbos with my family. An interesting observation that I have, that today when we're going to a wedding, we see, by a lot of weddings, we see different kind of dancing that we're not used to see, we didn't see in the past. We see like dancing that people dance alone, right? In the olden days, we never saw that. So like everyone was dancing together, right? So it shows like it's a different generation. Like people are so alone. Everyone is in their own world, right? So marriage today is like, and also there's recently a study that people that are married live longer because they feel they have a partner, they have someone. So marriage is here to take away loneliness from people. That's the way Hashem describes it. That's the original way, to make a person feel that you have someone, she has someone. So that's the main idea of marriage. The
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Harav Ehrlich, the next question that we want to ask is, what is the obligation of a man in a marriage, and what are the obligations for a woman?
Right. It's a great question. I'm sure many people have this question. The word obligation is a little iffy to me. If it's an obligation, is already tzudas. If some people say that they have 613 problems that they need to solve, and some people have 613 privileges of doing mitzvahs and master time, 613 mitzvahs. Okay, so if we call it obligation, if it starts off that way, then it's not going to work. So it's not about obligation. It's rather, what is my privilege as a husband to do in the marriage? What is it here that I could bring to the marriage? Because I so want to be married, and I so want to have a partner, and I so want to share my life with someone. So what is it that she needs that I could do, and figure out what I could do to make my spouse, my wife, to be happy or fulfilled, which is ultimately fulfilling her mitzvahs aina, as we said before. It's not only the relations, all the other parts of spending time and being there with your wife. So this is what gives it away. Spending time is, okay, we all know there's the famous book that became famous the last couple of years. It's the 5 love languages, right? Different people need different ways to feel affection. Some people feel better. They like when their spouse spends time with them more. Others like, touch. Others like, everybody likes everything, but presents, gifts, helping at home, and all types of languages. I think there's much more than 5 love languages, but okay. So the Titus perspective, the way I see it, the way dealing with so many people, there is a need for a man in the marriage to feel that his wife needs him. And when his wife needs him, she needs him emotionally. She wants him to be her provider, in mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially, and obviously in the romantic life as well. So when a man is able to give, and he realizes, he puts himself aside, and he realizes that it's about giving and sharing in what he has, he feels fulfilled. He's mekayim the mitzvah of a haftarach kamoich, mekayim the mitzvah of marriage the way it's supposed to be. He's taking away the pain from the wife of being constantly feeling alone and unfulfilled, which is al ishach shikusach, is a constant need that a woman has. Hashem created the woman. I know in today's world, we're living in the woke generation. In the world today, and so we need to be careful of not bringing in this goyish hashkufa. But I still need to say the way the Torah sees it, the way I see it, the way life is, that yes, a woman has a constant insecurity in herself, a constant need. She needs her husband to help her fulfill a certain need. That's an emotional need, that's a pleasure need, and everything else. So when a man puts in effort and tries to figure out what do women in general need, and what does my wife need, that I could fulfill that need that she has, that's my obligation in marriage. That's what I need to do to make sure. And what happens in turn, I end up having a better life because I feel like a real man. A man is someone that gives, a woman is someone that takes in that way. Obviously, we take by giving and they give by taking, and we could get into the whole, we're talking about who starts the engine, how it works, how the marriage works. So the main part of marriage for a man is to constantly think, what does my wife need from me right now? To be tuned into her feelings, into her needs. And the more we do that, the more we enjoy it, the more they enjoy it, the more successful the marriage is. So this is something that constantly thinking, you could start Shalai Lishma, And you can start just by, this is the right thing to do, but eventually it becomes second nature and you love it. It makes you feel, because that's your obligation. That's what you need to do. We can get into more details of other parts. I just want to give this idea of giving and being in tune in her needs. That's the main obligation of the marriage.
Amazing, amazing. Very beautifully said. Thank you so much. Shloime Ekstein, would you be able to add on that?
Yeah, sure. And ich rede in Yiddish, weil ich realized du hast auch Yiddish speaking, was nicht jeder einer is English, so my language is auch Yiddish, so I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, please. That's excellent.
So that question is, was the obligations from a man, was the obligations from women, right?
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
So I would, ich wollte lieb gerade sie empfehlen, wenn du gehst daran in a business und die fragst der Arbeiter, wusstest du, like, lass uns du zwei Arbeiter mit der Boss, mit der Manager, und die fragst, wusstest du, so I begin, me geht zurück zu the contract, ja, so me gesigned a contract, wenn wir da reingekommen in the business, und lass mir überlein in the contract, ja, ob du etwas a dispute zwischen uns, lass mir sehen, wo es steht in the contract. So, in that as marriage, hype sich mit a contract. Into the Chippe is do a contract, so ungerief nach Xibbe, and me line that obligations was the man hat zu the Wab, right? And me sagt that sei specific Sachen, was the man signed into, as nimmt sich vor zu deliver in the marriage. And außerdem is do Sachen in the Mishnah, me sagt das Xibbe, so do was the Mishnah rechnet aus obligations was a Frau hat sie a man. So in general, I mean, without going into details, but in general is the obligations was a man hat sie a Frau is, the man darf machen sure the Frau is kegenemen. Darf machen sure the Frau hat was unzitin. Darf machen sure the Frau hat medical help, wenn sie darf. Darf machen sure the Frau hat sie essen. Und darf machen sure sie hat Oine, the Zaten was is a chiyuv and when sie darf is, right? Die alle Sachen sind obligations von der Mann zu der Frau. Die Mishnah mit 60 Sibbes und der Rambam bringt es herup, ist, als die Frau darf machen, sicher der Mann, die Frau kocht Essen, die Frau greift in der Bett, die Frau, like, alle Sachen, was die Mishnah rechnet aus, was eine Frau greift für einen Mann, was eine Frau tut für einen Mann. This is mehr weniger der Achreisen. So, wenn man geht heran, in an individual, like in a marriage, sei das sag mal especially hand, is du Frauen, wo stehen männerische Arbeit, sei helfen mal raus dem Mann bringen Panusse, hand ist es, sei das, ich meine, kann jeder helft raus dem Mann bringen Panusse. So, es sei schwer zu sagen, wenn eine Frau arbeitet, in der Mann kommt daheim, der Mann expect, als die Frau so haben ungegreift Zapper, und die Frau so haben gewaschen the laundry, und der Mann sagt, das ist eine obligation. So, the Frau technically can zurückkämpfen für den Mann, it's your obligation to work, like, ich arbeite, and so, we can in specific marriages is different, but in general, the theoretical perspective and obligations between men and women is also wie früher ausgerechnet.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Very well said. Rabbi Royde, Rav Royde Shlita, can you explain why it takes a woman so much longer with the mitzvahs oina than it does for a man? Is there a purpose for this? Almost, let's call it unbalanced. Well, I'm calling that for clarity purposes.
Okay, so step number one is the mitzvah oina only works when everyone understands this, that it takes much longer for a wife to get her that she should get a pleasure. Now, when the stipler writes in the brief very strongly, if a person decides to do it quickly because he imagines he's a purish, he wants to do it quick, the stipler writes so strongly, he's mean, he's a selfish baltaiva. The fact that it takes the wife much longer to get a tava than it takes the husband, that is why you have to do it slowly. So step number one is everyone has to know the message that yes, it takes longer. And if a person does it fast, he is not yotze the mitzvah, and just the opposite, he was mitzvah his wife. So why does it take longer? The answer is, since The goal is that he should give to his wife. Therefore, if the tava will happen the same second, then he's not giving to his wife. The fact that he's doing it slowly, when his tava is already strong at the beginning, but he's doing it slowly and building up her tava, that makes him into a real giver, and that is how he is fulfilling his mitzvah of oina to her, not he's doing it to himself. He's doing it slowly, so now he's a real giver. If it will happen simultaneously, he wouldn't be a giver. The fact that he has to wait and do it till she's excited, that makes him into a real giver.
Wow. And can you also explain why we call it the glue to a marriage? Basically what I'm asking is, it's the way you explained it now was amazingly put. But there's also a part of it where people want to understand the yes, it's you answered most of it. Can you just elaborate a little bit as to why it would be called the glue to a marriage?
First of all, let's explain, going back, the mitzvah of oina. We said the mitzvah of oina is his mitzvah to her. Now, what's the goal of the mitzvah? The goal of the mitzvah, the Torah tells us, v'dovak be'ishtoi v'hoyo lebosa echad, which means the mitzvah's oina is supposed to bring the highest level of shalom bayis. So how does it bring the shalom bayis? So the fact that there is a tava, the tava makes him want to get closer to her and brings her closer to him. The fact that he is doing it slowly until she gets her excitement, that is how he's really giving to the marriage, and that is how he is showing her how much he cares about her. The only way they become one is if he's 100% focused on her. If he's just doing it for his tava, and as we said, the only way that you can show clearly I'm doing it for her, not for myself, is by doing it slowly. So and that is how you bring the highest level of ahava and the highest level of unity. So by doing it slowly, showing himself and showing his wife that he's doing it for her, that is how the achdus together become stronger. He is giving to her, and she realizes, she feels with a strong clarity that he is giving to me. Therefore, by him giving to me and she realizing it with the strongest level, and he's doing it patiently, slowly, even when he's on a high, he's still waiting, that is bringing the achdus to a much higher level, and it connects them together in the highest form.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you for that. Rav Ehrlich, if you can chime in here a little bit. Explain.
Okay, Rabbi Royde came in with the practical. I just want to talk about the emotional reason why I think why Hashem created it this way. I think that I'm going to say a quick mushal. I was dealing with a remarriage. Okay, there was someone that was a guy that was divorced for 6-7 years. The wife was divorced. She was divorced for many years. They finally got engaged. Okay, they come down to the new apartment, and she's all excited. He comes. They're moving. In 2-3 weeks, going to be their wedding, the second marriage. They both have children already. They found a nice apartment. He walks in like a man. He walks with a tape measure, and he's ready to be practical. He walks in there. Where's the couch going to go? What's going to be the parking? And he walks in, and he calls me that evening, and he says, I don't know what am I doing wrong? I walked into the apartment. My Kala is crying. She's full of tears. So I said, what did he do? Whatever he did was wrong. But basically, I was explaining to him that you walked in very technical into that apartment and trying to figure out which color we're going to paint the walls, where we're going to put the couch, or where we're going to put the refrigerator. That's great. She got emotional for a minute. She said, in other words, she was saying, put down the tape measure. We were divorced for so many years, single, going through so much Gehenna. Finally, we found a bar. She wanted to feel it. She wanted to be excited. She wanted to laugh with him and say, like, finally, this is the place where we're at. And 5 minutes later, you could take out your tape measure. This is a gift that Hashem gave to us men. We are so technical. We have to be. We're the business people. We're the ones, the breadwinners. But we become very technical. We get married to an emotional being, someone that's being able to live present. A woman could be in the present moment much easier than a man. By living with a woman, they help us bring out our emotions and become more real. Like you make bar mitzvah, you're so busy being mechabed everybody, and you come home, you're like, oh, I just made bar mitzvah to my son. I can't believe it. He made it through Chayder, and he made it through and he's growing up a nice boy. The woman, by the bar mitzvah, she's enjoying it. She's feeling the bar mitzvah of her son. The man only feels it afterwards. But if he's able to talk to his wife before and look at her and go to the mechitza a minute and see like she'll tell him, like let's not think about the bar mitzvah, like the technical parts. Let's enjoy the moment. I think that one of the greatest places where a woman could tell a man, don't be so technical, prolong your tava a little bit, you'll enjoy it more. You're working on your wife for a while, and enjoy it. It's a process. It's like someone that I once said to him, Noach Weinberg, you can't enjoy potato chips when you press up the whole bag. He says you put it into your mouth, let it sit there for a minute, feel the salt, feel the potato chip, and then swallow it. And then another piece. You can enjoy much when we hop around the whole bag, we don't enjoy it. Our women are here, our greatest gift to us by getting married is for them teaching us to live in the present moment and to enjoy and to feel life. And one of the greatest places to feel life is in the intimate way, not to just get it done and over, because us men also enjoy it if we wait and we work on them. And besides, if someone really understands the geschmack and he loves his wife and he cares for her, he enjoys the process. It's not an obligation, like I said before. It's a privilege. It's like a person wants to touch something he enjoys. You walk down, you go to a museum, and there's an interesting sculpture. Everybody's going to touch it. Every person that walks in there is going to touch. We touch something we love, something we want, we get close to. The women feel that touch. They enjoy that touch. They know that we cherish them. And if we really enjoy it, that part, and not trying to think, oh, let me get to the end of it, and let me enjoy the process. The wife is here to teach me to prolong the excitement, to prolong the tava, to prolong the geschmack. Then we would enjoy the process. Enjoy it. You wouldn't even know you'll say, whoa, it went so quick.
Wow, amazing. Amazing. That was very clear. Thank you. So we have the practical and the emotional part all around this. It's phenomenally put. Thank you so much. Rav Royde, if this tava is meant to bring my wife and I closer to each other, and I'm quoting a question, then at what point does one become a Baal tava? Meaning, what are the limits? What is allowed, what's not allowed?
It's a question which everyone deals with, and good people that when the Chosen Rebbe didn't teach them about this, within a few months or a few years after the chasna, they get so depressed, they feel terrible. I'm a Baal tava, I'm wicked. And yes, and other people get the other extreme explanation. Yes, tavas are okay, so they actually end up Baal tavas. So first, I'm going to give a 6-word answer. Then I'll say another Yisoel. The ultimate answer is, I'm going to say six words: tava l'shem ahava. Veloy tava l'shem tava. Sorry, 7 words. Right. In other words, this is the ultimate Yisoel. The goal is not the tava. The tava is supposed to bring you to ahava. That is number 1, and that should be everyone's goal. Yes, the only way it works is with a tava, and there's a Rashi in Gemara Nida that's an avaira to do it without a tava. Rashi says these words. So therefore, the only way it works is with a tava, but the goal of the tava is the ahava. Now, I like bring up just a small story from Reb Shloime Wolbe, Zeichet Tzadik Levracha. He just explains a good way of describing when is it a good tava, when is it a bad tava. They say there was this young man, a echte ben teure. He came to 5 years, 10 years after his chasna, and he came to the Mashgiach Reb Shloime Wolbe, that Rebbe, I feel I'm too much of a Baal tava. For his wife, but he felt that is pasnished, such a Baal tava. So the Mashgiach told him like this: imagine you're walking in the street and you smell food from a bakery. And the smell goes inside you, and you get close, you see a kosher Hidadige bakery, you have such a tava to buy this Danish. And you have a tava to buy it. So Reb Shloime asked this young man, what do you think is the Torah Dige Mahalach? You have such a tava to buy this Danish. So this young man says, well, it's a gewaltige tava. I'm going to try and control myself. So the Mashgiach told him, you're wrong. Now listen how Tzaddik thinks. He said, you're wrong. You know what you should do? Buy two and give one to your wife.
Wow.
This, in other words, this is the ultimate yesod. A person, the definition of a Baal Tava is he uses a Tava for himself. He uses, and we call this an abuser, using his wife's body for his Tava, that is called an abuser. The other extreme, biting your lips that you shouldn't enjoy it, that's just stupid and you're not going to fulfill the mitzvah. What's called the Echte, an Ehrlich Yid, someone who shares the Tava with her. And that is his goal, to get closer to her.
Wow, wow, amazing. Thank you so much for that. That was beautiful. What a beautiful story. Many people are asking if the Roof can explain, or at least give us some type of an overall guideline of what is allowed and what's not allowed. Is that something we can bring out over here, or is it on a more intimate person by person?
It's more an intimate personal question, but typically when someone calls me with this question, if a man calls me with this question, may I do this, may I do this? So my answer is always, who's asking, you or your wife? If your wife wants it, then 99% of the time it's a mitzvah. And if you want it, then we have to find out how okay your wife is about it.
Yeah, wow, wow. You nailed it. You nailed it. Yeah, yeah. Beautiful. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Shkoyach for that. Very, very clear. Harav Ekstein, if you can, we can't set the Facilated, gewaltig.
The chilik van Baal Tava in like when weiß ich es ist, yeah, so bei
Was meint der Baal Tava? Wenn wird der Mensch Baal Tava und wenn ist es a Tava, was geht?
I think Rabbi Royde has explained sei stark and ich kann ein bisschen zulegen. The definition von a Baal Tava ist gewöhnlich, wenn ich bin focused auf mich, wenn ich bin focused, dass ich darf etwas erfüllen, ich darf fühlen, es ist ein narcissistic feeling, like it's very, any Sache, was hat sich nicht geben, any Sache, was ich nehme an, jenem in man Tave, jenem geht benefit, jenem geht an nur, ich mache nur für jenem, es ist nicht kein Tave, es ist nicht kein da weiter von Tave, right? So the reason for what's in some Tave, the reason for the actual thing like human nature, am so hoben Tave, is weil uns man kennen des geben für unsere Wabe, right? So wenn ins Team des in its nits mit der Tave sie geben, was der Eibischte will, this is nicht nur nicht kann problem, like this is the greatest, the größte Sache, was ein Mensch kann tun, zu nehmen der Tave, was der Eibischte dem gegeben. So wie wenn ein Mensch, so wie Rabbi Royde gesagt, die Sache, ein Mensch schmeckt etwas und alles, ja, und gesagt, man darf geben für die Wabe, aber was geschehen, wenn ein Mensch kauft der Dänisch und sagt, wow, was Schäfer, Q, das mir da gegeben, macht einen Bruch und dankt der Eibischte für es bringt. So das ist die größte Sache, was ein Mensch kann tun, und das ist eine Sache, was alle chassidische Surim reden von dem Konzept, von nehmen alle Sachen auf der Welt in eine smale Sache, es heraufbringen zu einem höheren Level, right? So wenn du trinkst einen Kaffee und du sagst, Schakel neben der Burre, der Kaffee ist geworden jetzt heilig, es ist der Holy, ist aber holy, right? So wenn du nimmst eine Tave, und du gehst mit der Tave, in die Tista Sache, was der Eibischter hat sei lieb, die Tista Sache mit der Mitzvah von Oina, was der Eibischter, was das ist die größte Kedische, was sie do, ist nicht nur, es ist nicht kein Problem, es ist die heiligste Sache auf der Welt.
Beautiful. Shkoyach. Let's get that all gebracht. Shkoyach. Harav Royde, a question, and I'm gonna quote. I'm gonna say it in quotes. If marriage is supposed to protect me from sinning, from doing a chait, doing avaida, why is it that I'm married for 10 years and I still find myself doing avaidas? I still find myself sinning. I find it even getting worse. What am I doing wrong?
Right. So this is the Gemara. When the Gemara tells us that the wife saves you from sinning, most people get it very wrong over here. They think that marriage saves me from sinning. It's peshat that when I was a bocher, if I had a tava, everything's an avaira. Now that I'm married, so therefore now I'm allowed to do it. In other words, the goal of my tava, now I can fulfill my tava on my wife. In other words, using his wife for his tavas. which of course, that itself is a sin. So what does it mean that marriage saves you from sinning? As we were saying, the whole goal of the marriage is the husband's a giver. A person has to understand a zucha is a mashpia. The essence of how the Eibishter made him is to give. That is his essence. So therefore, since the Eibishter made him as a giver, the only way he will get his full satisfaction is when he's doing his job as a giver. So the Eibishter gave him a tava, and he has a moedige tava, and it's a tava of giving. So when he is really focusing on his job, he is really giving to his wife. And yes, as we heard before, Ehrlich, that it's a gewaltige tava for him that he's enjoying. He's really making her feel good and doing what he's supposed to be doing because he's showing how much he loves her. So when you're really, really giving, then you're doing your job as the Eibishter created you, as a giver. So therefore you will get your satisfaction. But when a person does the whole oina with not the focus of giving, therefore he's not doing his job, he's taking, he's using his wife to take, so therefore he will never ever be satisfied because he's taking. When he works on being a giver, he will get his satisfaction.
Wow, that really explains why it even gets worse afterwards. It's because it's not just a lack of, it's actually doing it wrong. It's more of a wow. It's less fulfilling than not being married at all. That's incredible. Wow. Harav Ehrlich, would you be able to chime in here?
Definitely as Rabbi Royde said, beautiful idea. I never thought of it that way, that when you fulfill your giving, that's filling you up with the tab. It should be good enough. But so that's beautiful. I was thinking that maybe some people suffer from an addictive personality. Some people, most people get fulfilled when they have a need. Let's talk about steak. They love steak. They got their steak. They're full for the next 24 hours. They can't think about steak anymore. Some people that are in addictive personalities, they'll want more and more, even if their body can't take. They'll eat it and they'll break it out. They'll eat more and then they'll throw up. They'll constantly, whatever gives them their pleasure, they need to go see an addiction quite a few times a week. A good physical relations with his wife should be very satisfied and not have to. Of course, you could always work on you still see. You still can work on your tavas and not looking around and gazing on other women and work on your avodas Hashem to fulfill that mitzvah. But if it brings you to a place where it doesn't keep you back from sinning, or you're not getting it home while you're supposed to, or simply you should reach out to some professional to see maybe you suffer from addiction. Some people have a biological issue. Some people, their hormones are not regulated. Just like some people, they have the happy hormones. There's sexual hormones. There are different hormones that are not regulated. Sometimes you could just take a simple medication, not to tame the tava, but to balance it. That it should be normal, to what's considered normal on the charts from the doctors. So it's if a person has living with his wife in a normal way and he's able to fulfill all his healthy fantasies and all his whatever he needs and what she needs, he should be fulfilled.
So okay, that leads us to our next question. What do you suggest if my wife doesn't want to be as intimate as often as I do, or vice versa? So meaning, when one's appetite is stronger than the other, what do you suggest, Rabbi Ehrlich? Able to expound on that, please?
I'm going to cut it very, very short, more or less what Rabbi Ehrlich said. The bottom line is, in a good, healthy marriage, that the husband does not abuse her. I don't mean terribly abuse. I mean using her, and he gives her what she needs. And when he does it in the right way, and yes, he does not overdo it, and he does it in the right way, and the whole marriage, not just in the bedroom, the whole marriage, 24/7, he's a giver. Then 95% of the time it's not an issue, and if it is an issue, then typically she has to go for help. But again, when someone will come to me, I will first make sure 100%, as I'm saying, that she really feels he's a giver and he never ever uses her. When I know with the clarity he's a giver, he never uses her. And of course, he knows He's trained what the mitzvah oina is exactly how to do it. And if she's not interested in it, then she should go, then probably she needs some help.
Wow.
Yes.
So let me ask you on that, if you don't mind. Can you explain emotional connection versus physical connection? And how does it play itself out in a marriage where it should be taka, like you're saying, in a healthy place where everything is just, these are healthy dynamics all around?
So as Rabbi Ehrlich said before, there's a technical part and the emotional part. Yes, the essence of the mitzvah's oina only works if you're showing emotions, not just the technical part. You can't give them just a list of things. This, you do this, you do this, you do this, and you don't do this, and you don't do this, and you do this. That's technical. That's not going to work. It's literally opening up all your emotions to her. Now, when she feels that my husband really opens up his emotions, no blockage whatsoever. The mitzvah's oina is done without any physical barrier, without any emotional barrier. Your minds have to be together, 100% focused on each other. And there's no physical barrier between you. You're really, really as open as possible. She feels it. And when she feels this open emotional bond, therefore she's in it. And if she feels only 80% of the emotional bond, then she's not in it, and it's painful.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Rabbi Ehrlich, you want to add something?
Yeah, I just want to say that the question is, what's the difference between an emotional connection and a physical connection? I think that when a couple walks into my office and the wife sits there and she says our marriage is not good, and the husband says I don't know what she's talking about. So I ask the man, he says, what do you mean? I do everything. I go shopping. I come on time. When I wake up, I help the kids go on the bus. I help with breakfast. I even help with laundry. I make parnus. I do everything. I know what she's talking about. I'm doing everything. And the wife says, yes, true. You're giving everything, but I still feel alone. Then you could have another couple walk to the office, and the wife is going to say, my husband is not so on time. He tells he comes a certain time, he comes I'm late. My husband, is procrastinator. He's this and that, but emotionally, I always feel together. He's always here for me. I think that when you love someone, when you're connected to someone, your behavior shows. So, like I said at the beginning, it's all about being in tune in your wife's needs. If your wife tells you in the morning that she has a toothache, she woke up with a toothache, you don't just hear, you actually feel, wow, my wife has a toothache. Then during the day, naturally, you're going to pick up the phone and call your wife, how's your tooth? And she's going to say, wow, I forgot already. So that's called being an emotional connected, that you're taking along. It's not only technical when she asks you, I need to take me, deliver this, pick this up, pick up milk from the grocery. That's a nice connection. But an emotional connection is when you actually carry her feelings together with her. That's an emotional feeling is.
Beautiful. Thank you. Rabbi Ekstein, willst du etwas zielegen?
The chilik von emotional connection, physical. So it's
Physical connection, yeah.
Ich agree mit alles, was Shloime sagt. Das ist eine von den Schwierigkeiten in Marriages, was ich sehe, die letzten 10 Jahre. Männer mitchen in sich sehr stark, sie hatten, was meint emotional connection. Meaning, wieso, the erste Mal, was the Torah described, Bechlal, the mitzvahs oine, the Torah is do interessante Wort, wieso the Torah rief to oine. The Torah steht, Udam, Juda, es have Ishtoi. Ja, Udam, Juda, es have, sehr interessant. Udam har gekannt, sein Wab have. So this is the Torah's perspective of oine. Torah's perspective is as, sie machen a connection mit einem Wab, darfst ein Juda, man darf sich kennen, du darfst dich kennen mit dir, es ist nicht kein physical Sache, was geschehen, right? So es ist sehr interessant, dass das ist die erste description, und es ist eine von der schweren Arbeit, was insaf mit ihnen als Männer, sie herangehen in the emotional part, und wissen als wissen, das ist der Weg, wieso dann Wab geht viel nach Connection mit dich. Und also wie der Shloime hat gesagt, ich sehe es unaschir mo. Ich habe es nicht lang zurück gehabt. A couple ist gewesen bei mir, und der Mann hat gekauft a teure Present. Sehr a teure Present. En de Wab hat ihm zurückgeworfen in Punem, ich darf es nicht. En gewinnt so hört, es hat ihm so weigetein. Ich gebe uns so viel Geld. En zijn gesetzen, en ich frage de Wab, sag mir, welche Sache kann replacen the entire present? Like, this is a jewelry piece, whatever. Was kann es replacen? En sie tracht an mir nicht, en sie sagt, ich meine, a sticky note of my bed, I love you. Ich meine, this will replace the present. Der Mann hat sich kein verstehen. Like, what are you talking about? Ich gehe, ich choose a present, ich kaufe dich nicht, ich gebe uns Geld, ein pure Duschen von Geld, das ich gearbeitet. So whatever. So this is the Arbeit, was in Zafmatin, and this is emotional connection. This is the way, and this is Arbeit, nicht kein Arbeit, was mit tit for the throne. So Arbeit, was ins benefit mit. And this is the Teure in the question is so it's a gemur rieft a plagife. Ja, wenn einer ist, wenn man nicht chassen geht, ist man a plagife, right? And ich habe es ping gesehen von der Stiplet, als so hat nicht ein Team mit der Chassen, so hat ein Team mit der Feeling. Wenn es so sehr sagt Menschen, wenn ein Chassen geht für 50 Jahre, and so noch halt a plagife, right? Ob sie nicht do kein chemistry, sie nicht do kein connection, ist man a halber Mensch, right? So the Weg, wie so ins wem der ganze Mensch, ist nicht dafke mit physical connection. The Weg, wie so ins wem der ganze, ist, als uns feel mehr in this pause, und dann mit connected, also wie der Teure described, ist Juda, ja? So this is the ganze Idee von physical connection, the Teure perspective, ist, ob sie kommt zusammen mit emotional connection.
Amazing. Wow. Okay, thank you so much. Perfect. Rabbi Royde, can I we go to the next question? Is it okay to have intercourse, not to have intercourse on mikveh night if the dumen doesn't want to?
So back to what we were saying before. There's no healthy, logical reason after waiting for 12 days. As the Gemara tells us, the Gemara says it's the whole goal of Hilchas Nid. I mean, maybe it's going to be one of the next questions. The goal of Hilchas Nid. We'll talk about that soon. But the goal of Hilchas Nid is that they should be excited for each other. After anything that you have that you have constantly, you get fed up. So finally, we have Niddah, 12 days of missing each other, really missing each other, and waiting for each other. That is good for the marriage. So in a normal, healthy marriage, on mikveh night that she shouldn't want it, is I wouldn't speak about mikveh night. I'll send them for, I'll try and give them real marital help. Why they're not excited for each other, unless it's some physical thing. She's really not feeling good. But besides that, in a healthy marriage, there's no answer. Again, as we're saying the whole time, no abuse is taking care of her. There's no logical answer in a healthy marriage, healthy people, that in mikveh night she should not be excited.
Okay, amazing. You started on bringing up the question of Hilchas Nida, like what's the point of it, and you answered it somewhat.
Okay, so
can you elaborate on that, please, and explain how a couple can become closer together during the time of Nida, and what the whole concept, what Chazal had in mind
so actually, in my Chusen teaching, it's one of the things that over the years, Be'ezus Hashem, many people that I don't say Baruch Hashem, but I mean, they don't keep anything. But after coming to me for Hilchas Nida, and we introduce them Hilchas Nida, they keep it. The only way a marriage can survive, we don't like to survive is the wrong word of marriage. Thrive. The only way a marriage can work is with Hilchas Nida. There's basically three things. So the Gemara tells us this. And I always tell people, if the Gemara wouldn't tell us the reason of Nida, then we'll just have to say it's a chayk. But since the Gemara gives us the reason of Hilchas Nida for a healthy marriage, therefore we have to understand it. Number one, anything that you do every single day, every single physical tava in the world, eventually you get bored of it. The more you do it, the more you get bored of. Says the Gemara, why does the Torah teach us Nida? And the Gemara says so powerful words. I mean, as if a therapist. You get so used to your wife, you get fed up, disgusted of her. That's what the Gemara says. Therefore, says the Torah Nida, that you're going to be waiting and missing and anticipating, and these 12 days you're going to build up your excitement for each other. This is what the Gemara says. Now, that's number one. Number two, how does a couple become connected? There's a wrong mistake in the world. You ask a typical person, do you have Shlom Bayis? Yeah, we never fight. So now, so that's of course not Shlom Bayis. If you want to succeed at work, you cannot fight. So what do you do? So how does a couple become one? A couple becomes one. There's two things. There's a communication part of marriage and there's a physical part of marriage. These are two ingredients, besides being nice to each other. These are two things which actually stick a couple together. Now, one without the other does not work. Physical without communication doesn't work, and communication without physical will not come together. In the Goisha Welt, I even took a course once in communication. When they teach communication, they actually teach communication together with touching. And I always tell people, when a husband and wife, they're talking and touching, where do you think the husband's mind is? It's going to be much more on the touching than the talking. Therefore, the communication fails. The only way the marriage can succeed is when you're given 12 days of non-touching. These 12 days, you're going to be talking and talking. As the Mefarshim say, Asheboro sosam v'simcha chosam v'kala, gilo, rino, ditzo, chedva, ahava, achva, shulam, v'rayas, is the two parts of the marriage. The non-nidda days is gilo, rino, ditzo, v'chedva, which means a line of fun. Now, in the nidda days, it's ahava, achva, shulam, v'rayas. You're actually getting closer to by talking. And then ultimately, how can a husband really show his wife that he really loves her? It's very easy to say, I love you when you're touching. If you can show real love, 12 days of showing how much you enjoy spending time with your wife, even when you're not touching, the wife gets the ultimate message that my husband loves me more than he loves my body. The nidda days, you get so close to each other.
It's beautiful, beautiful. A little off topic, but sort of on topic. Can you explain if a couple can be together without actual bia?
That's what they're doing all the other time. They're so close. Their emotions are close, even when
on a physical level. I'm sorry, on a physical level.
Again,
can you explain? And again, if it's not if it's more of a one-on-one type of answer, then we'll move on to the next one. But can you explain if a couple can be together without actual bia?
So it's a hard answer in public because there's a lot of shitters on this. Black and white Gemara and Shulchan Aruch and many Rishonim, you see absolutely yes. So Ramosha Feinstein, I mean, you look in enough form, you'll see absolutely yes. You look at, and however, there are shitters which you're not allowed to. So therefore, I prefer giving this answer in as an individual. Okay. Yes, I can show you many Makoras from Gemara, from the Gemara Chazal, where you see that yes. But many shitters hold that you're not allowed to. So therefore, it's a more of an individual question.
Okay, wonderful. And everybody listening, just know that I'm going to be giving all the panelists contact information. You'll be able to contact everyone privately and get whatever answers we're not getting on tonight's Q&A. Rav Ehrlich, yes. Is it okay not to have intercourse on the women's night if the woman doesn't want to? If you can elaborate on that, and at the same time explain what Hilchas Nida is all about, what the concept of it is, what Chazal had in mind. What are we looking to grow in the connection between the couple in those days?
Mm-hmm. You meant if a woman doesn't want mikveh night, right? That's what you meant.
Yes.
First of all, no. Rabbi Royde answered very well. She should be excited, but if for every reason she's not, or because the guy messed up that day, he did something very wrong and she got turned off. But definitely, there's no rape is never accepted in Yiddishkeit, and there's no room for that. And if the man says and he's being, if he has affair, he's gonna have a wasting seeds. That's his issue. It's not her issue. So definitely, there's no such thing as as forcing a woman to do something. Definitely not in that way. So let's take that off the charts. That's off. The whole Hilchas Nida thing. I think that I remember I took a course like many years ago in a Goish about psychology, and then it came into this subject, and the question was like, I'll say it in the Lush Kodesh words. What is, a man needs tava, and when he has tava, eventually he gets ahava through it. He gets love through it to the person who he has tava with. The woman needs first ahava, and then she gets her tava. Then she gets turned on, and then she gets the tava. But first she needs to feel the love. So who starts the engine? That's the question in psychology. Who starts the engine? He or she. So Hashem, the designer, the ultimate designer of the world, created the world, and he created the stakel ba'iraisa b'ura alma, the Zohar Kodesh says. Hashem first created the Torah, and then he created beings, us, and the world to work according to the rules of the Torah. So in other words, this is the DNA of us. The DNA of the human psyche is the haluchas of the Torah. This is the human psyche, because the human psyche was born and created out of the instruction book, which is called the Torah. And in the Torah was written that you should not touch your wife when she's impure, when she goes through the Shivamai Tahara. So what happens is when a woman knows consciously and subconsciously that my husband cannot touch me for these 12 days, and he's being extra nice to her because he loves her, even though he can't have with her, she's fulfilling her ahava. So when she gets clean after the mikvah, she has so much tava for him. A man that gets a lot of tava throughout the clean days, he has so much ahava to give, even when she's not clean. So this is what's fueling the marriage in a deeper sense and deeper level. It's the Hav and the Tava game. It's the dance of romance, really, if you want to look at it in different words. The dance of romance is pursuing and be pursued. Pursue and be pursued. Run after something and then back off. It's not all the time running after the other, because naturally a man would run after his wife all day. Hashem created for the man, and as I said before, it's giving him much more of the geschmack of the relationship, of the physical relationship, by waiting a little bit. I know it's painful, but by waiting. So both are being fulfilled that way, and I think that that's the greatest level of why Hashem gave the Hilchas Nida and everything else. The only thing I just want to add, that there's a lot of people on this group, I'm sure, that many of us had the Chusner Rebbe that we had were a little extreme, and they told us that when the wife is not clean, they don't tell you what says in Halucha. They add on so many chimras, and a lot of men think that they're not allowed to tell the wife, "I love you," while she's not clean. He thinks he's not allowed. Yes, he shouldn't buy her extravagant gifts, and yes, it does say don't do certain things, which is going to create very difficult for you and for her from falling through and being physical in a time that you're not allowed to. So don't do elaborate things. But we need to teach, and I teach this to the chassan that come to me. It's the opposite. You have to be extra kind to her. When
Ehrlich, please.
that's the Ramchal, yeah, right? Okay, fine, but you have to be Matthias, right? Pious meaning you have to be together. I just want to say something very quickly. I know it's getting late. A human being is able to have two opposite feelings at the same time. We could be upset at my spouse and still love them. You cannot hate someone and love someone at the same time. That you can't do. But let's say you're married, you love each other, you care for each other. Now your spouse, your wife or your husband spoke up something by the Shabbos table and said something they shouldn't have said, and you get turned off, right? That's the sprach. You get turned off. You back off. So physically and all, some people just don't talk for 2 days. Silent treatment. Where does that come from? That comes from a very unhealthy place. A lot of children. I remember when I was a child, okay, when I was punished for being wild, I was very wild, I felt I'm not loved now. Now I'm bad. You hurt your brother. You're bad. You didn't make your test. Instead, the way I do with my kids, I tell them, you need to be punished now because you were hurting your younger brother. You need to go into your room right now for 10 minutes until you're going to have to learn your lesson. But I can't wait for you to come out because I love you so much. But you better go into your room right now. I'm being strong and I'm punishing them, but I'm telling them the love is the same. A child like that, when they get married, they're able to have the dual feeling of being upset. Yes, my husband came home late and he said he's going to come on time. My wife forgot to make something, pick up something, or she said something, tell yourself, I still love her. I still love him. We're great. I'm upset for that. You're going to train yourself of having that healthy lifestyle of being able to be upset at someone and still love them. And look into Tehillim. David HaMelech had so much tanas in the Rebbeinu Shalom for all the tzuras he went through. Kaili Kala Lumas of Tuni, why have you forsaken me? David Shagusi, I'm calling you day and night. You're not answering me. The two psikim ladies, yeah, Hashem, but I crave you and I love you. You could think it's bipolar. Chaz v'shulam. It's not bipolar. It's the opposite. It's being healthy and being normal and being human and saying, you know what? I am very upset. Instead of being turned off. Turned off is not healthy. I'm not saying someone you're living with an abuser. Yeah, you gotta back off. The Torah, there's no room in the Torah for, or in Yiddish life for abuse. No, zero tolerance. Once an abuser is always an abuser. If someone physically hurts you or sexually hurts you, you speak up. An abuser is an abuser. We're not talking about abusers. We're talking about healthy, normal people living together. There's always going to be one of the two doing something wrong, not owning up. They're in a bad mood. They said something, whatever it is. You tell yourself, I'm upset, I'm hurt, but I still love that person. You're going to see that intimately you'll have a better time.
Oh, beautiful. Shkoyach, thank you so much. Rav Ekstein, kannst du etwas zielegen?
Ja, du fragst, die kennen Mitzvahs ohne kennen.
Aber wir können es nutzen, to make up after an argument.
Nur für Männer oder ich sehe da auch Frauen?
Nein, es sind nur für Männer. Ja, sorry, Shloime, was sagst du?
Sorry, Ali. So, wir kennen nutzen Mitzvahs ohne to make up. So, ich will ein bisschen zurückkommen zu dem friedige question von physical connection, emotional connection, weil a man usually can sein, hat nicht als a problem, wenn sie do a friction zwischen ihm und sagen, boy, bateratava. Für Frauen ist es mamisch Yisirem, meaning sie sein mit der Frau beschaß und ist nicht auf the same page, beschaß mal gehabt, ob es sitten Kriegerei, im hat es nicht ausgegrut, für ihr ist es sehr painful. And actually, die Gemurre in der Durem, was rechnet aus die nahen Middes, eine von der Sachen, was sie steht dort, ist Benai Merive. Es ist eine intense Gemurre. Die Gemurre sagt, dass a Pusik von Cheskel, als Famenschiech hat kommen, geht sein abbildet. Geht man weiter sein, welche Menschen gehen sein, Part von der Gehirn, welche Menschen nicht. Und eine von der Sachen, was sie steht dort, ist die nahen Middes. Menschen mit seinen Gebäuden von einem certain Weg, was ist gegen die Roots nach Hashem. In eine von den Wegen, wo so ist gegen die Roots nach Hashem zu herumkommen auf der Welt, das ist Benai Merive. Das ob ist man gewähnt mit der Wab, beschaßer Kriegerei, und von dem ist der Kinder rausgekommen, das ist mamisch herausgekommen, sei das scharfe Duschen da. So, sie nicht kann, sie sagt, was ist gegen die Teure, zusammen mit der Wab, beschaß, sie do friction, beschaß, man ist nicht auf the same page, ist Isser, und man darf machen Schuhe, sich immer zu beten. So, Bechlal in general, ich habe sehr lieb zu sagen, für Menschen, was gehen, für Help for Marriage, ja, sie do a sach mal mistake, als Menschen meinen, als a couple, tu keinmal schuben kann Kriegerei, kann Argument, kann Disagreement, ja, and it's a huge mistake, and as a matter of fact, that is sach mal, in meinem Office, wenn ich sehe, a couple kommt heran für die erste Session, und ich sehe sie auf Beißen, wie soll sich sie fighten, I'm so happy, ich weiß, ich kann geben a signature of their marriage. Like, if a couple figured out, wie soll sie disagreeen, und wie soll sie in me wakt heraus noch dem mit love, und man sagt, ich habe dich noch halt lieb, und es ist gut nicht, es ist ich halt anders. Das ist manchmal the foundation. So, wenn a couple is in a Platz von a argument, man versteht sich nicht, und man kann gehen bei Nacht, und gehen für a walk, und sagen, du weißt, ich habe gehabt, Pain hand, was ist gewesen, and actually say, so ist die geklaut, sie darf wissen, dass jedes Mal, wenn die hast Pain von deinem Spouse, ist, weil sie do love, ja, weil die hast jenen lieb, wegen dem macht dich keine Pain. So whatever, so, ob kann man zicken ja Platz, wenn, das ist sicher, also ob kann man sich nicht überbeten, man kann nicht auf ein Page, aber die Teure tun wir nicht zusammen, und es ist sicherlich auch, was sie sieren, der Iker von der Frau. Wenn ein Mann ist in Turef, ist es auch sieren von dem Mann. Aber bei Iker ist es moeilijk sieren von der Frau, sie sahen intimate, wenn es nicht auf ein Page. So man darf sich überbeten, und man darf sich auslernen in general, wie soll sie leben an Marriage, wenn sich keine kriegen, keine disagreeen respectfully, mit love.
Sei klar rausgebracht. Schkoich. Rav Ehrlich, now, is a question that I've gotten so many times from so many angles and in so many different ways, and I'd love if we can get a good clarity on this. Why for so many years has it been taught wrong? Not only wrong, but the total opposite of the way the Torah tells us we should do, the total opposite of what Hashem wants. How does such a thing happen? It's not a little different. It's the total exact opposite. Can you explain? Can you shed some light into how such a thing could happen and how we can make sense of it?
I think the simple answer and the quick answer is that Messiah was lost on how to teach Chasanim and Kalas. I asked both of my grandfathers. One of them came from Hungary and one from Romania. Wieso is gegangen in the Altenheim? I asked them when I was young, and I asked them how and both told me that in the Altenheim, the father of the Chusn was the Chusn Rebbe for his son, and the mother was the Kala teacher for the daughter. Besides Haluchas, she was teaching her daughter, was given over by a mother that's 40 already, understand, or above. It was given over with a lot of love and a lot of connection. After the war, the connection between the parents and the children were very disconnected. It was very technical. Our parents are children of Holocaust survivors. They had to go learn by other people. And that's where it started, Chusn Rebbe, Kala teacher. And a lot of the Chusn Rebbes were Holocaust survivors, very pained people, and very confused individuals. They came from one lifestyle, and they came into the melting pot of New York, and they met with, if they were Yekes, they met with Hasidim. If they were, everybody met with different lifestyle. They felt that everything that I was taught till now is not good. I have to change the way I wear my tefillin and the way I daven, the Ashkenaz and Svard and the Zmanim. Everything changed in their life. So they took a lot of the chimras, so to speak, which was really not based in any sfurim, these chimras, and they were very confused with what tava means. Although there's no avayda in the Torah that you're not allowed to have tava. I don't know where the word tava comes from. It's a kabbalistic issue. The whole idea, everything of it was very, very confusing for them. So it depends who your Chusn Rebbe was. If you had a Chusn Rebbe that was a child of a Holocaust survivor that moved to a neighborhood where they were talking a whole day against Tavas, and they got confused what Tavas means, so they told all the Chasanim, you can't do certain things, like being with your wife without having intercourse, because they were scared it's going to be Zayla Vatula, they were scared it's going to be other things. So all these things were made up in their minds and giving over. But you know, the good thing is that the light of the tunnel is here. We are the other side of the tunnel, and there's a lot of movement. I have people that are 45-year-olds come to me, and I teach them how to pleasure their wives, literally, and they cry. I had a man, he's older than me, and he was crying with tears. He says, I can't believe that I panicked my vab. I tortured my wife for all these years. I didn't know what she's missing. She couldn't elaborate. She couldn't articulate what it is that she wanted and how she wanted it. I taught him, I gave him the biology, what behind it and how a woman's body works. The moms were so thankful. It's like a whole new life in their marriage. And he was so pleased that it wasn't taught. But you should know, it's not only in this, it's in everything. You know, we went to Kiddush when we were kids, when I was a kid. And I went to Kiddush. The 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds are eating fressing cake and herring. Now people are much more careful with their food, much more careful with nutrition, much more careful with exercise, much more careful with everything. I think the whole world needs to learn everything. It's not only relearning, we're relearning everything. Chinuch, we used to patch our kids, and now we connected them through love. So there was room for failure, for error, and now there's room for moving on. I think it was, and as I said before, it was a total cut off Messiah by mistake.
Wow. Okay, yeah, you're giving us hope and light, and you're putting it in a very good light, that's the only way a Yid is supposed to go about it. Harav Shloime, can you add Ekstein? Harav Shloime, kannst du das legen? Please.
Shloime Ekstein, yeah?
Shloime Ekstein, yeah, entschuldigung. My bad.
Yeah, wow, I learned so much here. Shloime, I love what you just said. It's so amazing. Ich lerne mich so viele Sachen in der letzten Show. Yeah, so it's a very powerful question, Eli. And our question is, was man gelernt habe, man ist the opposite, and plötzlich kommt man immer so, nein, es ist nicht das, es ist das Verkehrte, was man gelernt. So I'm thinking, like, while Shloime was talking, I was gedacht, like, wieso das geschehen? I think it's actually very simple. 2 points which comes in my mind is couldn't call the in so kann man von unsere Eltern, so wie ich schon mal gesagt, ja, der Tate mit der Mama. Wenn ein Bucher wird 11, 12, 13, 14, weiß er, wie soll man Schakul Tlilev, weiß, wie soll man Hit Shabbos, weiß, wie soll man alle andere Mitzvahs, weil das hat gesehen in der Heim, so ein Tate Mama ziehen. But weiß nicht, wie soll man Kisht Wab, und weiß nicht, wie soll man Mitzvahs on, like he never saw it, right? So he has no idea what the Sache is. That's number one. And number two, in Zreimer Chayder in Yeshiva, and it's lemon mamish the opposite from was man darf hier noch de Chassen, meaning, so the master is do a laugh, and we'll see the Achar Levach, so do Shmir Sanam, do the Middesai Sot, was in Zaira Sachplätze retten, Zaira stark finnes, in so do the starke division zwischen Männern und Frauen auf Zaira extreme way. So in sich himmig, and ins Halten ein wir leben uns aus in der Zeit, was ins Development ist. Das heißt, bis der 18, 19 Jahre hat man eine ganze Zeit von der Landung, von der Magitschirem und von der Eltern. Kick nicht, touch nicht, stehen nicht, mach nicht. Like, die ganze Sache, eine Frau ist eine Sache, was hat gut nicht mit dir, don't look that direction, Bechlau. Und plötzlich kommt man zu dich und man sagt, nicht nur kick, nur zieh die ganze, so it's very, very hard, right? In der Weg, wo ich kicke, was letztens geschehen ist so wie der Shloime gesagt, the generation was ins Leben in Hand, Baruch Hashem, ins Halten in Hand in einem Platz. Also der Nubi sagt, als Hina Yom in Buem, Ne'em Hashem, wir schlacht die Ruhe Buretz, ja, ich meine, also ins Experience man the Ruhe, ja, so du a massive hunger, was geht gut in der Welt, und der Oilem sieht für Emes. Und ich habe mal noch gehört von der Lubavitcher Rebbe, ich habe gesagt, dass die heutige Generation ist eine Generation von sehr pure Schummes, und sie geht nicht mehr Hand kann Sachen, like, 50 Jahre zurück, glaube ich nicht, als ob es ein Mensch noch gefragt, für was darf man chassen, und für was hat man chassen, und für was, like, es ist gerne sich an meine Kasches, like, man hat chassen, weil sie belangt sich chassen, und das darf man tun. Hand ist eine normale Sache, like, Bucher und Meidlich fragen, why, like, efter darf noch warten, efter bin ich nicht ready, efter hier, efter hier. Man will verstehen the reason behind it, and so das auch, man will verstehen the MS von der ganzen Mitzvah, wusste die Sache ist. Aber der Weg, wo ich sehe, für was ist amul gewesen, the opposite direction, ich halte nicht, dass ich in der opposite direction, ich halte, dass man pushet nicht gerät von uns. Das ist, was man rett nicht in public, so das, was man kein Mensch gerät in public. So, ehrlich jeden haben ein gewiss der Emes, nicht kann sagen, was uns haben wir ausgetroffen, wieso der Eibischte will, man sollte in der Mitzvah. Man hat das ein gewiss, ins bringen wir pushet der Emes, was ist steht in der Teure. Und weil man rett, man hat kein Mensch gerät von denen in public, und man hat es kein Mensch gesehen in der Heim. In also ich habe gesagt, man gerät der opposite Eibig, am metunisch, es macht sehr sach Sinn, dass sie gefuhren auf die Direction in Hand, und sagt man sagen die alle Sachen, und sagt man treffen der Emes, wo es der Eibischte will, echt, wo soll die Mitzvah soll aussehen.
Wow, amazing. Shkoyach. Harav Royde, was would you like to add anything?
What they both said is correct. Just versteht sich, the shal is when did it happen? I mean, you look at starting from the Torah, from the Gemara, seht man klar, the ganze Mitzvahs Oines was schon im Bias. Stamms a scheine Gemara, the Gemara says a Gemara in Shabbos, as they asked Reb Shimon ben Chalafta, the größte Tana Reb Shimon Chalafta, wo Reb Shimon Chalafta ist gewesen, der was hat gesagt wegen Schulem. In his old age, I'm not sure exactly, 80, 90, wie alt ist gewesen, but I'm afraid, why didn't you come to Bes Medrash lately? So bekitzt gesagt, weil ist alt. In Nuchtem Betoichat Wurm steht in the Gemara, Reb Shimon ben Chalafta was saying, what's the problem of being old? Sei gerät mit darf gehen mit 3 Fies, mit Stecken. In Nuchtem mit Ziege like der Sach. Meisim mit Asieren. Meisim Schulen bebayes brutal. The thing was macht in the Schulen bias is brutal. Mir redt von der Tanner Reb Shimon ben Chalafta, ein 90-jähriger, ich weiß, ich bin klar alt, right? In bis 120 darf man arbeiten auf Schulen bias. So jetzt, als es schwach in der Kenntnis Mekanizen mit des Oina, so the thing which is making a Schulen bias is schwach. So pinklich, when it started the problem, ich weiß nicht. Aber die Gemara steht klar so, the whole mitzvahs oines for Schulen bias. So I think, yes, absolutely, the answer is the what they're both saying, the Milchuma broke everything, and yes, because we only mit Snagehet from the Tatas, so in alles versteht sich, wie man lernt aus a Buch, wie man lernt aus a Meidl, und bei Meidlich ist noch stärker, a Meidl lernt aus noch Hals has, ihr Gif is a viele Treif, also stärker, right, her own body is bad, so, ja, es ist geworden so, aber Baruch Hashem, es du jedem, was, yes, we have Eli Shkoyach for doing this because it helps clearly through when people start. The better we know mitzvahs oina, the better Shulam Bais is going to be in very stark nachamul. When es do Shulam in the bedroom, there's Kedisha in the gas. When es do falsche Perishas in the bedroom, it's do Timmer in the gas. So bearbeiten auf Shulam Bais und verstehen, dass sie besser, geht es nach Sach mehr Kedisha in the gas.
Wow, amazing, amazing. And Rabbi Royde, we're sort of running out of time here, but just to sort of finish up this last question that we asked, for couples that have been doing it the wrong way all these years or have done it the wrong way, what can you suggest, and how can they go about it, sort of putting an emphasis on tshuva, on looking forward, not looking back, or even I'm sorry, Pedro, I just want to finish this little point, or even using that experience to take the marriage even to the next level, a place like almost the concept of Bamukim Shabashi Boimdim, like that, on that level. What can you say? Yeah. Okay.
So first, everyone has to know you didn't do anything bad if you didn't do a good job until now, because you can start now. Yes, as Rabbi Ehrlich said, I've actually taught people 20 years older than me, and that it doesn't matter. I do many times when a 50-year couple wants to start working on the marriage, we can now as well. So it doesn't matter. We're not going to focus on tshuva, on guilt, feel bad. Yes, no one's to blame that they didn't know about it till now. And Baruch Hashem, they're starting now a new marriage. However, we're both on the same page, yes, and you're allowed to be open with each other. I wish I could have given you more attention and more love and more focus, but I'm sorry. I'm not to blame, you're not to blame, I didn't know how to. But from now, there's a 120, I'm really in it. There's no room for guilt or feeling bad over here. It's not their fault. But it is up to them, to everyone, find out as soon as you find out the emes, how can I do it better? Speak to the Mavinim that are going to help you do it better, and it will become better. You can start off your marriage at 50, at 60, at 70, it doesn't matter. And when I'm dealing with a 50-year-old, most of your life is ahead of you. Lomazung, he's married already for 30 years as 50. Okay, he has most of his life ahead of you. You can start now, and it doesn't matter how it was until now. I just accept the fact that it was wrong, and I tried, and you got to do it good. Now, even if her husband is not interested, many times it's the women, they find out the emes, they realize that they were missing, and they speak to the husbands. Now, many times the husbands are not really interested, but at the end of the day, he is committed from his chiv ksiba, as Shloime Ekstein said at the beginning, his chiv from his ksiba to take care of his wife and make his wife happy. I'm going to take care of you, I'm going to respect you, I'm going to give you what you need. So therefore, it's up to him. Yes, even if you're not excited, find out how you could, and actually find out maybe after all the years, maybe your tava is already not real, but when you find out how you can really become close to your wife, your good tava, your heilige tava will start again, and you have a beautiful future ahead.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. A lot of chizik there. Thank you so much. And Rabbi Ehrlich, if you can please expound on that as well, and give off the sort of the final comment to leave everybody off with. In the light and positive note.
On the question of what? What question?
So the question was really about being that it was taught with mistaken beliefs, being that it was taught this way, the guilt and everything, and sort of emphasizing in a positive way what can we do from here if we were taught the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And how we can make up. Yeah.
It depends if you talk to a Litvak or to a Chusid.
I
A
can't wait to
mitzvah
hear it.
that's very makbid on Shiva has to be Shiva's Hamishkol and looking back and living in the past and then working. The Chassidus would say, yeah, the Rambam says it, but you know what? Finyetz. The Chassidim, there's such a concept, Finyetz. Yes, I felt it now, but Finyetz Nachamol. And then Finyetz Nachamol, Finyetz Nachamol. No, but really, it's a joke. But I want to say is like this. I think that every person that was deprived from their spouse with something, and they decide from now on to learn and to become better and start doing what they have to make their spouse happy. The first thing is to own up. Owning up is part of saying I'm sorry, but it's much more. It's saying I'm sorry, but from now on I'm going to start. You know what? You're living with a human, and the human has feelings, and if it's a wife, even more. And feelings they remember forever, right? They say that why men forget everything because it's not connected to a feeling. Women remember everything because everything is connected to a feeling. Men only remember the things that, insult or a compliment. They remember forever because it's connected to a feeling. The rest, we don't care. But in any case, this is something they care about and they feel deprived. So if you own up, you say, you know what? Yes, it was my Chusar Rebbe's fault. I was not taught. I was brought up in this neighborhood, whatever, and I was taught falsch, emes. So from now on, but say, you know what? I still own up. I still should have maybe, try to constantly think, what else does my wife need? I probably would have figured out a little earlier how to take care of you, of your needs. So that's called owning up. Once you do that, most of the time, one of the two, the wife, in this case, we're talking to men over here, our women will be able to move forward. And you know what? It's allowed to take time. It's not about time. But owning up and saying I'm sorry, owning up and saying, you know what, and showing them I'm actually going. And I just want to say on another note, a lot of Ingalat are embarrassed to come to people like myself or ourselves, like Shloime and Rabbi Royde. So they reach out to Goyish places or to schmutzige movies, schmutzige websites, because they want to learn, because they learned there's some kind of pleasure they could give their wife and they didn't know how to do it till now. They want to go over there. I want to tell the Heimish Yidden over here, the Ehrlich Yidden, that is not your go-to website. That's not the way you're going to learn. The opposite. You're going to learn how to be more selfish and in a very horrible way. You should come to one of the Ehrlich Yidden, one of the updated Chassanim teachers, like ourselves or other ones, Baruch Hashem. I have a son of Chus now. I just sent it to Chus Rebbe in Brooklyn. And I spoke to the Chus Rebbe before. I wanted to make sure, like he's teaching everything the way. So Baruch Hashem, he's quite educated and it's great. And if you have a son of Chusna or Kala, a daughter of Kala, make sure you ask them if they teach them updated stuff. It's updated. It's yeah. So but don't nash and go naschen is fremde velde. Don't go to the Goyish world to learn these things. We the Ehrlich Yidden could teach it to you in a very, very updated way and probably even way better than that. And it should not be in a selfish way, it should be in a giving way. And the schmutzige websites are only teaching you how to take, not to give. So that's the gap of that. But in general, just know it might take time. Own up, say I'm sorry, say I'm learning, and you know what? Hashem should give you koyach, but you know what? We can't dictate the other person's emotions, the other person's feelings. They're not robot.
Wow, amazing. Shkoyach Rabbi Ehrlich. Rav Ekstein, I can't see like in a game down perspective, please. Shkoyach.
Ja, the marriage is a Sache, was bei keinem nicht perfect. A marriage is a Sache, was wächst. Es ist eine Sache, was jeden Tag wird es besser. In a successful marriage is, by the 90 you, darf es sein of the peak, darf es sein the best. Like meaning, man lebt mit der Spouse und man hält sich rein lernen neue Sachen. Und ob du bist du auf der Zoom, in das ausgelernt neue Sachen, compliment yourself, weil es ist immer noch bist ein smart person, du bist ein Mensch, wo du willst dich lernen, du kann ein Mensch, was du kannst sagen, ich habe ausgefigert Marriage, ich habe ausgefigert, du sollst leben mit meinem Weib, and I'm done, I know how to do it. Like, jeden Tag, es ist eine Sache, was ist ein Job von 24/7, and whenever die Monster hat das vergessen, die letzte 4 Schuhe zu sagen von deinem Weib, I love you, zu sagen von deinem Weib, plain, machen fühlen, als ich tracht von dich, machen fühlen, als Koifi etwas, whenever die kannst es dienen, darfst es dienen. So, sie kann sein painful, die lernen neue Sachen in die Tracht, so wie bin ich gewesen bis jetzt, but von der anderen Seite, you should know, as unfortunately, do thousands and thousands of people wo sie nicht du auf die, in seiner Linie schon, seine Linie stehen nahe Sachen. Und die hast Potential, und darf man sich beide überbeten. Der Mann und Weib beten sich über zusammen, wischen zusammen ein gewisses Faden. Aber von der anderen Seite ist auch ein Compliment für ihn, und da gehen wir sich hinein, du sei das, sag ich, mein, alles, was du geredet hast, man muss ja tippen mit einer Jan, was man kann reden. And this is life. We're learning, and man wird besser, und man wächst.
Amazing. Shkoyach Rav Ekstein. And I want to tell everybody that there are many, many more questions that came in, and I apologize that we're not able to cover everything. We did our best. And feel free to reach out personally, privately, to any of the three Rabbunim over here, who are very, very capable in all angles of marriage and relationships from a Torah perspective. So I apologize that we couldn't get to it over here, but you'll be getting an email if you signed up. You'll be getting an email from me with everybody's number. And now just a minute or two of ending remarks from each of the panelists, and then we'll call it a night. Harav Royde, if you could start with the ending, as they say.
So, as Shloime Ekstein just said, anyone that came here is amazing. It means that you understand that you want to get better, you want to do it better, and it's never too late. And just remember, the husband's job is 24/7 to be Mekayem mitzvahs oina non-stop. In other words, non-stop, and no oike v'aflech v'eisen, doing whatever I can to make my wife happy. And be'ezus Hashem, in the Yemai HaMetzurim, our marriage is a mushal for the real marriage, the Eibishter with Klal Yisrael. And by working on our Shulam Bayis, we're going to be zoicha that the Eibishter is going to work on the Shulam Bayis and bring back Klal Yisrael to him.
Oh my, beautiful. Thank you so much. Ehrlich.
Yes, I want to congratulate everybody for coming on. It's definitely, it's not easy to come on and to join a class like this. So this in itself is a compliment for you for joining, and this is the beginning of being marbes shulam ban ishla ishtoi. People think that avur shulam ban ishla ishtoi means other people. It's by your own self. So every time you do something, effort, you go learn a new class, and or any type of thing that you do in your marriage, you get closer to your spouse. You're being mekayim, the greatest mitzvah by ishla ishtoi, and that's what it says. Yeshulam ban ishla ishu is shchina shriya banaim, and there's the gemurit nochas sprachas. There's a atzlocha when there's shulam, because the Hashem rests between the ish and issue, meaning to say every time you invest a gitavat and whatever you do for your spouse, for your wife, you are bringing in Shechina into your house. It's becoming a Mukam Migdash, and this is bringing Brucha. Shechina means being Brucha. So, and being Mekan the Mitzvah, someone went out and did Shalom Bayis for hundreds of couples, and his own wife is crying at home that he's not home ever. It doesn't work that way. You have to start at home, and it's not an obligation. It's a privilege. It's an excitement. You could start Shloide Shema, but then Bula Shema becomes a real excitement. Your wife has to be mamish, your better half, it could be your soulmate, and you're investing in your marriage. And this is something that whatever we do in this world, Hashem, the Bashem Tov says, Hashem tzilchut, Hashem is your shadow. Wherever you move your hand, your shadow moves along exactly. So whatever you do over here, you invest in your relationship with your spouse. Hashem is going to invest in a relationship with us. That we are the female part from the Rebbeinu Shalom means Hashem wants to connect us and be mashpia to us, and the way we are mashpia to our knesses was our spouse. Hashem is being mashpia for us, and that's why the Gemara says that when the shulam, it brings a lot of bruch and atzlucha and panusa into the marriage. And I really hope that we'll do more. Eli, I hope you'll have more koyach to do a few more like this, because I saw the question, which is unbelievable. That this is just the beginning.
Bezos Hashem. Umain to all the bruchas, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything. Harav Ekstein.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Eli, very much for putting in the effort of doing it, and I want to thank Rabbi Royde and Reb Shloime. I personally learned a lot, and I really enjoyed it. So, and ik wil danken iedereen om het te doen. Ich will ziehen mit ein Wort, was ich nicht gesehen von Reb Shloime Zalman Auerbach. He was a master in Shulam Bayis. Yeah, it's very famous what he says, but what he said by his wife Slavaya, als ich kann ihn nicht überbeten, weil ich habe kein Mal nicht getan. So, ich habe gesehen, letzte Nacht habe ich gesehen ein Statement in seiner Nummer, was hat mich namentlich geschickt, als 95% of a success in a marriage is intimacy. 95%. So it's what we're doing here is mamish like we're building marriages, and ich bin sicher, jeder eine was zu tun, als seine Sache geleden. And at least mal geleden kann man darf sich noch eine Sache lernen. So it's amazing what we're doing, and it's very appropriate for the 9 days. Und wir halten mit dem Zurückbauen bei Samigdash. And da habe ich selbst, und wir haben alle solche gesagt, to have the best marriage, and sie solche gesagt, zu der echte Geille.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. I just wanted to finish off giving you my take-home message from how much I've learned tonight from everybody, from all of you. And hopefully it can be helpful to others as well. If I had to take the whole conversation and wrap it in a bow on an emotional level, the connection, marriage is all about connection. And how do we connect? The deepest form of connection is what we call vulnerability, being vulnerable. Vulnerable, the meaning of it is being seen. When on the level that you allow yourself to